We come to a time in our service where we recognize that God is a generous God. We also recognize that you are a very generous congregation, and for that we say thank you. Thank you so much for your gifts and the ministries that you make happen right here at MCCDC. We have an elected board of directors who are responsible for the day-to-day and the week-to-week and the month-to-month management of affairs at the church. They are very faithful servants, and they are attentive, very attentive to the management of the funds and the management of the administration of the church. And so for that, we say thank you for your service, board of directors. And now I'd like to invite one of our pastoral care ministers up. And I have just a few questions for you. This is Todd Clark. Todd is one of our pastoral care ministers and also serving in a variety of other ministries at the church. How long have you been at the church?
I'd say about 17 years.
Wow, awesome. Thank you. And so I also would like to find out, how is God working through you and MCCDC to bring impact and hope into this world?
In all ways possible. I thought about you asking me this, and I found a quote that sits on my wall that sat as a framed piece of writing in my dad's office so many years ago. It was from Samuel Miller, who is, a respected theologian and writer. He writes, "If religion cannot be radical enough to engage in this world's basic troubles, then it can do nothing which merits God's concern or the world's respect. Religion is to help the world, and I would say people in the world, fulfill itself." And I feel like that is the mission and the message of MCCDC, that it encourages and invites and strengthens a person to fulfill themselves, the best of who they are. So I thought that there are four quick ways to define that. That MCCDC was an open and welcoming church. Open in the sense that it is a literal open door for any and all religious faiths to feel welcome. And people are finding and do find MCCDC because it is a refuge from, or a safe place from, a religion or a spiritual time in someone's life that was not friendly and welcoming and loving. And it's also a place, I think, that could remind someone of a good place that they were in on their spiritual journey at another time and place. And it is that home for them again. So it's all faiths and traditions are welcome. And the second is this idea of an open table. That communion is available, this sense of nourishment, the real practice of spiritual nourishment to all. Don't need to be a member of this church or any church. And that, to some, is radical. But for me, it is an essential part of God's love for anyone, no matter who they are. And the third is this idea of an open invitation. That as a member, you're invited, encouraged, and strengthened in your spiritual journey to maybe take on or be part of a ministry. Dance ministry or drum ministry, which I found, the volunteer action team, the pastoral care ministry, that if you feel that part of your spiritual journey can be expressed in a ministry, MCCDC will say, let's talk, let's make it happen. And the last, and this is I think probably the overriding one, is this idea of an open heart. That we feel, I think everyone who I turn to and say, how do you feel about MCCDC? When people will say, it's family. It's family, it's where I feel welcomed, and where I feel that sense of love, that deep sense of love and acceptance of who I am. So I think for all those reasons, this idea of an open, welcoming church that encourages you, guides you, strengthens you, maybe challenges you, to fulfill who you are on your spiritual journey.
We definitely aspire to those things. Those are our aspirational goals.
MCCDC is family, so
Yes, thank you. And thanks very much, Todd. And please show Todd some love.